On Monday, President Trump released his $4.8 trillion budget proposal for fiscal year 2021. That begins October 1st of this year. Don't fall asleep. This is important. Now, it's unlikely that this proposal will become law. His budget is generally seen as a priority list for the upcoming years. So if you see where he wants to spend, you know what he wants to do. In it, the White House has proposed massive cuts to social safety programs while beefing up their spending on defense, border security, and military programs. Now, don't forget, it was a week ago the president said nothing's going to happen to people with pre-existing conditions in his State of the Union. We're not touching Medicare and Medicaid. Well, that's not what's in here. According to the Office and Management of Budget, they're the ones who released the proposal. This year's plan will cut spending by $4.4 trillion over the next 10 years, and they say it will put us on the path to a balanced budget in 15 years. Now, some of the areas we're going to see an increase is the Department of Defense, Veterans Benefits, and even NASA, which alone will get a 12% increase in spending to $25.2 billion to fulfill President Trump's promise of getting Americans back to the moon by 2024. But social programs, like the ones people depend on, the ones people vote based on, like Medicaid and federal housing assistance and discretionary spending in agriculture and education, they're going to see major cuts. Medicare drug pricing reform, the Environmental Protection Agency, and even the amount allocated for foreign aid are all areas where the Trump administration is tightening their federal belt. And important to note, with this budget, the Trump administration is predicting economic growth over the next year and a decade at a stronger rate than many experts out there are forecasting. Except for 2017, economic growth has been lower year over year than President Trump's previous budgets predicted. This year, as the Trump administration is forecasting GDP growth of 3.1%, expectations are much lower from the Federal Reserve and the IMF, who both forecast growth at about 2% for the United States. So while beefing up projections, that's not new. We see it happen all the time. Even the Treasury Secretary, Steve Mnuchin himself, warned last week that U.S. growth could fall short of 3% for 2020 because of economic strain from coronavirus and Boeing's issues with their 737 MAX aircraft. And Mnuchin himself, who was in front of the Senate Finance Committee today, had this to say.
So what I hear from you today is there's going to be there's no request in your current budget to cut anything having to do with Social Security.
Again, the absolute mandatory programs of Social Security.
Well, don't read it to me. Just talk to me. Tell me. There's no cuts to Social Security is what I'm hearing.
I believe there's a cut in the rate of increase, not an absolute cut. But again, I'd be happy to follow up and go through this.
Regardless, the budget proposal is unlikely to become law as spending bills need bipartisan support. Even Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell expressed his doubts and said that in the event it does pass, last year's spending deal would continue to guide the government this year. Now, stay with me. When they say it needs bipartisan support, that's their normal wink to say Democrats aren't going to vote for this. Do you know who's not going to vote for a big budget? Republicans. So we're going to see how this thing plays out in Congress as they decide what to pass for the new fiscal year, which begins just 1 month before the November presidential runoff.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.